All right, everybody, welcome back. Today is going to mark the start of what I'm going to call Try Hard Week. This is going to be like Shark Week on steroids for Clash of Clans, basically. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover a different, in-depth, kind of nuanced thing in the game, start to finish, and hopefully you guys can benefit from this while we're kind of waiting for new stuff to be released into the game after CWL and stuff, right? We have about a week of CWL until some of the newer event troops and other things, or the event or whatever it is, get entered into the game. So this is going to be something to do between now and then. For video number 1, today, we're going to talk about planning to hit a base in CWL. This is the base I've already hit, but I want to walk you through what my plan was, and I'll show you that it worked literally exactly like I planned it out. So when you get into CWL, this is for the furnace attack, by the way. Obviously, the first thing that you're going to look for is where can I try and do some things to get value with a flame flinger. That's going to speed the attack up, make it a lot easier for funneling, and get rid of some key defenses if you can get those out of the way. So if you're looking at the base here, you can see there's like some ground expos. Expos over here, another ground expo. Heroes are kind of on the outside. We're not going to really get any flame flinger value anywhere like on this side of the map, right? But if you can use a couple of rocket balloons on each of these mortars here, which I actually carry 4 rocket balloons in my standard Legend League army, so I'd have been able to do this in Legend League too. After that, I am going to put my flame flinger and a furnace down right over here, and then just a furnace on each corner of the base. These furnaces on the edge of the base are going to help clear some of these buildings, making it easier for my funnel, so that if I put my king here, he's not going to walk around the outside and he'll step into the building, but it'll also help with time. So the reason I'm going to do the flame flinger part first is because for time's sake, right, it's not the most efficient way to do it, but for multitasking sake, it is by far the most efficient thing. If I put my warden on the far left and start worrying about him, and then I put a flame flinger down and I'm trying to put rocket balloons down in furnaces and things, that's time I'm spending not looking at my warden and paying attention to my warden, increasing the risk that he dies or launches a terrible fireball, right? So that's why I want to put the flame flinger down first. Then after that, this furnace right over here is going to test for little Teslas in this area. What I'm going to do is just place 2 invisibility spells down very quickly, launch a fireball on this multi-inferno tower, clearing this building right here, this whole compartment actually. And the reason that I'm just going for an easy fireball that doesn't get any insane value is because as soon as that happens, this compartment is done, and it's just not even in the game anymore. Let's just go ahead and scribble that out. And then if my warden heads up, because he really cannot go to the middle of the base, right? There's so much empty space there. If he goes up, what I will then do is when he's far enough away, the furnace down here will have cleared these buildings, and my king and my queen will kind of walk this way. I'll break this wall here and get them into this compartment where I will activate their abilities and try and get them to go nuts, maybe even rage them in this spot right here. That's where I want my heroes to go with. And ideally, I would like my heroes to deal with the clan castle and not my warden or the flame flinger. And then the most difficult thing about these raids is trying to just keep the warden alive. And one thing I'm going to do to make that a lot easier on myself is I'm just going to put the royal champion right over on this side of the base and activate the rocket spear right away. This is going to get rid of this ground expo that will range and start hitting my warden, as well as this fire spitter. And then I won't have to worry about those constantly beating on my warden and expending spells and things like that. And then throughout this attack, I will just kind of pepper little furnaces just kind of behind the warden to, one, help funnel or to help tank for him, as well as clearing trash buildings just wherever I think I need to see them fit. So that's kind of how I look at a base and come up with a plan. Now, there are a whole bunch of different things that you could do for coming up with a plan, but for furnaces, this is kind of the ideal way to do it, right? You want your royal champion to make the life easier for the warden. You want your warden and your king and your queen to stay separate. And if you can get any value at all with a flame flinger, that is absolutely worth it, and you should absolutely do that. And I would say 3 defenses is worth it for a flame flinger. So if you can get 3 defenses with a flame flinger, that's worth it. If you can get 4 or more, which I get, everything, and then I think I deploy it manually before it can get in range of the town hall, so it clears just a ton of these defenses over here so that I don't have to worry about them. But with this whole intro and everything out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into the live hit, and you guys can kind of see how this worked out. Perfect, we're live, and I'm going to do this in live time so that you guys can kind of get a feel for the timing of everything. So when I'm putting my rocket balloons down, I'm putting them on an angle over this way so that if there is a Tesla here, it gets activated, and not deploying them this way because the Tesla won't see them maybe that from that far away, right? So that's why I angled the rocket balloons the way that I did here. As soon as the mortars go down, I'll put my flame flinger down, and then I have a flame flinger there. We put a Tesla there, search for the Tesla, right? I'm just going to injure those 2 things. 1 earthquake is all I need. That gets rid of that entire compartment. And then I put a balloon down just in case there's any traps or anything. It looks like my warden's going to head down this time, so I would have just switched the plan if that were the case. But he ends up going up because the king kind of gets him onto that, or aggroes him up to that upper side there. So then I end up not having to worry about it. This whole time, the Flame Flinger is just still going to continue to get value. The Furnace is going to keep that safe. I could have been quicker about putting a Headhunter down over here with my Warden, but the King was already at like a third health left, so it really didn't matter that much anyway. And you'll see the Headhunter kind of pop out here after it's done anyway. Now is when I'm going to start worrying about getting my King and my Queen into this compartment. And this is why it's so important to put Furnaces on the corner of the base at the start of the raid. We don't have any of these buildings here, so there's no way my King is going to walk out this way, right? He's absolutely going to go into the middle of the base right here because of that corner Furnace that I put at the start of the raid. Make that a habit if you are using the Furnaces. And we're going to use the King. And another trick that you can kind of do is if there are some buildings here, you can put your King right here and then put your Queen over here and let her get rid of some of these buildings so that your King can go in, because it's more important that your King enters this compartment than your Queen. Your Queen can always kind of divert or get some value anywhere because she has range, but the King does not. And then as this is all happening, I'm placing some Furnaces kind of up by my Warden just to continue tanking and getting rid of some of the other defenses to speed him up. There goes my Royal Champion, by the way, to deal with that Expo and the Fire Spitter so that I don't have to worry about that with my Warden. And then I'm trying to look for a way to wall break my King a little bit further in so I didn't have to use his ability kind of in this compartment. I'd have liked for him to get a little further in the base, but things don't always go 100% to plan, right? We use it right here. It still gets a lot of value. I quickly place the poison spell on top of that Furnace. I should have invis the Royal Champion just a little bit sooner, but you can see I deployed the Fire Spitter, or the Flame Flinger here. Way too many words with F in this game. Manually, just so it wouldn't get in range of the Town Hall, but now looking at it, it probably would have got that Ricochet Cannon first anyway. I raised the Warden here just so I don't have to worry about him dying while there's like a Ricochet Cannon and a Monolith there. And at the end of this raid, literally, this is like, I actually sent a video of this into the group chat that we have for CWL with this being the plan beforehand, and it literally went like exactly the way that I thought it would. And we swag 5 spells. So this was a very successful hit for Try Hard Week. We're going to continue doing really in-depth things like this that are kind of difficult to kind of put together and stuff, but if you guys have any ideas for very specific things or ideas or identifying weaknesses of a base or whatever the case is going to be, this is Try Hard Week. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see, and I'll make a video about that.